SRL, and we're at a track that either you love or you hate. It's Marmite Grand Prix. Well, it might as well be called the Marmite Grand Prix. It's actually the Monaco Grand Prix. A lot of our drivers have been looking forward to this, and at the same time been cacking themselves. I don't know what side I'm on because I'm in the comms booth. Well, I'm alone this evening. We may have a guest co-host joining us later on. I'm not going to say who it is because Mr. AFL, unfortunately, he's been signed off sick from work. He's not well at the minute. Obviously, wishing him a very, very speedy recovery. So, big love to AFL in the chat if you can, people, because he's gutted he's missing it, because it was one he was looking forward to comms in, because Monaco's either going to go two of one ways. You're going to do well, or you're going home quite early. 14 drivers are blessing the grid this evening. We've had a few people leave. Haas isn't racing this evening. Ross unfortunately can't make this evening. Once again, there's a bit of sickness going around, but I'm pretty sure, regardless, even with 14 drivers on the grid, I'm not expecting all of them to finish this evening. So, it's going to be interesting to see who, in fact, does win this Grand Prix. All eyes are on this man, however. It is Dan94. However, he's not the first one to get out of the grid, but we'll just have a quick on board with Dan at the moment while we are on the hot lap. Dan94, the current leader in our World Championship and the only driver to be on triple figure points. If I'm correct, he is on 104 points. I'm going to get all my stats up now. I am running a little bit late on all my admin stuff because Littleton doesn't want to go to bed, and no doubt you're probably going to be graced with Harry at some point on the stream, as always. So, speaking of which, here we go. I've now got the table up. Dan is currently leading the World Championship by with 105 points. Next up in that table, it is Wesley with 83 points, and it's Dean Pryor with 62. So we're going to jump on board with the man who is in front at the moment. It is Mr. Jenkins 17. Now, I know from behind the scenes, he has put an awful lot. He's put an awful lot of practice on this week. He's put an awful lot of practice into Monaco this week. Now, the question is it going to be worth it, or is he going to be going home very, very early? Of course, Monaco is known for its tricky corners. The lack of overtakes will make it hard this evening for people to get points, but so long as they can set a good quali lap, they should be on for a good time. So Jenkins is going to be the first driver to set a hot lap this evening, so we're going to stick on board with him for now and see what he can bring. He'll be setting the benchmark for the table. So we've had a bit of a word with the Drivers' Championship. Let's take a look at the Constructors' Championship. McLaren at the moment sits top of the Constructors. They've got 110 points, to which 105 of those belong to Dan. Mercedes currently grace the table in second place with 97 points, and Williams are in third with 73. Red Bull have 60, they're in fourth. Haas have 47, they're in fifth. We have a bit of a yellow flag on the track at the moment. Don't know where, I think it was only for a brief moment. Aston Martin are in sixth with 42. Alpine in seventh with 27. Alfa Romeo with 19 in 8th, Ferrari in 9th with 16, equal with AlphaTauri, who also have 16. We have another yellow flag. Jess, obviously, she has got a qualifying ban this evening, and so does Severe Scott. So they were allowed to set an outlap to get their setups locked in. But that's pretty much it. Jenkins has aborted his hot lap, so I can only assume he may have had a bit of a wiggle. Obviously I weren't looking at the screen at the time. Dan sets the first pole of the evening, 1 minute 10.8. Good time. Now, I don't know who was watching the F1 this evening, but Max Verstappen is now officially a 3 times world champion. So congratulations to Max on your third win. And that's probably the only time you hear me ever say something nice about Max. So Wesley goes second with 1 minute 11.4, and Atom in third with 1 minute 15.5. Another driver who's been putting in a lot of time on the track. So it's going to be Bracey, I believe. Oh no, we had Wesley with 1 minute 11.4, Salvatore with 1 minute 12.9. Bracey goes P3 with a 1 minute 11.5. So everyone's coming in thick and fast. Phantom Nug's going to be the next to grace us. Who's he going to get? He's going to go 4th, 1 minute 12.6. Phantom Nug is new to the SRL family, where I race. Go and check me out on a Monday night. And on top of that, Phantom is now in my tier. So you'll see Phantom and I battling it out on Monday nights if he's going to be a reserve driver for tier 5. So can't wait for that. Speaking of which, another person that is from It's 3-4. He's just snuck up there in third. Obviously, CRL 3-4, another CRL driver, but he's a head admin and a tier 3 driver currently for CRL. It's good to have him up racing. He's been looking forward to this as well. He's had a busy day as our 3-4, but he's letting pass the Mercedes. He's got off the racing line. Obviously, stewards are all under strict orders for this evening. Just because it's Monaco doesn't mean we've changed any of the rulings. You can't just... We don't do it in normal F1, so they're not doing it in actual F1. Right then, let's go and try and find another outlap from someone. Speaking of which, someone that was involved in a bit of controversy last week. Mark Wilson had a bit of a bump with two other drivers, which nearly led to the destruction of SRL. Obviously, we're not going to go too much in there. We rise from that moment and we crack on. Mark's going to be setting a hot lap very, very soon. So let's stick on board with him and see what he can do, because he'll be the next driver setting a hot lap. Obviously, we've all moved on from here. Obviously, everybody's getting back into that. We're acting like last week was just a bad dream. Next week, however, there is no racing. The week after that, there is no racing. We are on two more weeks of breaks, and then after that, that's it. All the break weeks are done. Then it's a mad 8-round dash to the final to Las Vegas. And I can't wait to have our final race in Las Vegas. And then we'll be crowning our first SRL champion and our first Constructors champion. Who knows? It may be done before that, but what I would love a battle right to the very end. But the man, the myth, the legend that is Dan is currently in a league of his own. He's pulling a Max Verstappen here at SRL. Anyway, Mark Wilson, he's going to be attempting to try and catch up in the Constructors. Obviously, Mark started off as a Red Bull, temporarily left, and now he's back as an Alfa Romeo driver after we had a severe shortage of drivers. Approaching the final corner now, and he's going to be setting his first hot lap of this evening. What can Mark Wilson bring to the party? He goes P7 with a 1 minute 13.2. He'll be looking to improve on that time shortly. Right then, I believe Jenkins... No, it's not. It's going to be Wee Rabby, the next driver that's on a hot lap that hasn't set a time yet. He'll be the next one to cross the line, so we'll give Wee Rabby some love. Obviously, if you are new to the channel, smack that follow button. Obviously, every Saturday night, you'll be here live with us with SRL. The video then gets downloaded and re-uploaded to our YouTube channel, where you'll be able to watch the race whenever you want. On Monday nights, you can catch me here racing my little heart out for CRL. Next week, we head over to Imola. And then on a Friday night, you can catch me, the Jarvis, and Nathan Clark as we do Friday Night Fortnite. Obviously, if you are feeling a bit generous, you can hit the subscribe button. Obviously, I never ask anyone to do that because that costs real money. But if you do want to do that, all money that does get earned by my Twitch channel goes back to making this channel just that little bit better. Wee Rabby goes P8 with a 1 minute 15, nearly flat. Jenkins is now on a new hot lap. Like I said, Jenkins earlier, he's been feeling quietly confident when speaking to me behind the scenes. He's put in a lot of practice. Hopefully, it has paid off for him. Now, what can he do? Now, obviously, the Monaco circuit, a very tricky circuit. The last time I raced here, I ended up retiring. Wasn't a good race for me that day. Really wasn't a good race that day. It's not one of my strongest circuits. If anything, it is actually my weakest circuit. So, I decided to be a little bit evil and put it on our very, very first calendar for SRL. Dan improves on his fastest time. He goes 1 minute 10.3. Can Jenkins attempt to smash that time? At the moment, he's doing good so far. We're currently about to hit a minute mark with 2 turns left to go. Danielle, thank you for gracing us in the comment section. Obviously, always supporting her husband Mark, and obviously always being a big support to SRL and CRL. What can Jenkins do? He's not going to break that 1 minute 10 mark. He is going to go full fastest. 1 minute 12.4. Severe Scott, obviously he's got a qualifying ban. Scott, if you are listening, you can go on an outlap to set your setup, mate. You just can't set a time. So it's up to you, mate. Or if you just want to retire in the pits, that's absolutely fine. Right then, Bracey's about to cross the line. He's on a... At the moment, let's go and jump on with him. He's going to attempt to improve. We've got a yellow flag somewhere else. Don't know where that was to. It was only very brief, so we'll have to wait and see what happens from that. So yeah, as I was saying, we only have 8 rounds left to go after this. Just 8. Who would have thought we're at the halfway mark already? 7 down, 7 to go after this, because obviously it was supposed to be a 15 calendar season. However, we had to cancel Australia, unfortunately, due to things happening behind the scenes. So, round 8 will be Brazil when we come back from our 2-week break, and then we'll head to Mexico. Then it'll be Imola, Austria, Abu Dhabi, Belgium, Monza, and then finally for the race under the lights on the strip of Las Vegas. Bracey's improving, gone fastest sector 2, so he's looking to try and take that top spot. Everyone here is desperate to get that first ever win at Monaco, because let's face it, we don't know when Monaco's going to be back on the SRL calendar due to the fact of how unpopular it is, but popular at the same time. It's popular in real life, but it's unpopular in the game. Bracey, by the looks of it, does not improve, so won't be going any further with him for now. Let's jump on board with Wesley. He's about to try and improve on his time. Can he do it? I believe the answer is no, he did not improve there. Right then, so who's out and about now? Salvatore's just dived back into the pits. We've got another Alfa Romeo who's on an outlap. That's Mark Wilson. He's going to try and improve on his time. Adaptable Earl, let's give him some love. Adaptable Earl, one of the drivers that was involved with an incident. He's back on the grid. I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's not one for public eye, but Earl looking to try and do good. He's been looking forward to racing here in Monaco all week, and it's good to see him on the grid, to be fair. Right then, let's take a look to see who else we could potentially jump on board with, because Earl, I don't think he's on a hot lap at the moment. We do have a yellow flag in sector 1. I believe it is Dan letting past the Alpine. I believe that's not a Mighty Atom. I believe that is of SRL Freefall. He's on a hot lap, but I do believe he's got potential wing damage, because the red box there where it says he's got damage is active, and he's pulling over to let Dan pass, so letting Dan back again. One of the Mercedes drivers, is it Phantom Nug? It's not Phantom Nug, it's Wesley that's coming into the pit. Phantom Nug, once again, he's got the damage icon. He's currently sitting P6 with 1 minute 12.3. Is Mark Wilson trying to set a new lap? I think he is, but I don't think he's going to he's going to improve, but he's not going to get pole by the looks of it. Mark Wilson, where can he go? He does improve. It's now 1 minute 12.4. He's knocked off 700ths of a second off his time, but he still currently resides P8. Alright then, Dan is on an outlap at the moment. Let's jump on board with him. Let's show him some love. The championship leader, obviously looking to go for glory. He wants another win this evening. Dan is literally in a league of his own, obviously trying to restore McLaren back to its former glory. Well, speaking of McLaren back to its former glory, probably a bit overlooked this evening, but Oscar Piastri pulled off his first ever F1 win in the sprint race this evening. But Max, obviously, the world champion. We do have a yellow flag in sector 1. That's for Mark Wilson. I think he may have taken that corner a bit too slow. He needs to get out of the way because Dan is on the way. Stay on board with Dan. Dan's just gone fastest sector 1, but he has just hit the wall. Remember, all drivers need to be recording their footage. Topher still yet to set a lap. I wonder what he's waiting for. No, Dan has invalidated Mark getting out of the way to let Dan pass. Obviously that means Mark isn't on a lap then, so we're going to jump back on board with SRL Freefall. He's currently improving on his time. He's currently 200 seconds down on his time, which is good. Narrowly avoiding the wall there. 2 corners left to go. Nicely done. What time's he going to do? And commentators goes Freefall is out of the qualifying session. We was on board with that. I'm sorry, Scott. But commentator's curse strikes again. Just 4 minutes 30 left of the session at the moment. Phantom Nug is currently on an in lap because he's just pitted. We're going to stay on board with Atom, Scott's teammate. Let's see if Atom can improve on his time. Currently 1 minute 15, currently the slowest in the session so far. I don't know why Topher hasn't come out yet. He must be saving his tyres. Atom currently 400 seconds improvement over his last lap. That's good. He needs to try and still make up a bit of time somewhere, otherwise he'll be starting at the very back. Now you either want to start at the very front in this circuit or at the very back, let's face it. This is not a circuit where you want to goop around too much. Got a yellow flag in sector 2. I believe that's obviously involving over an AlphaTauri or Mercedes, but the yellow flag has now cleared. That was on a very, very good lap here, taking it nicely. No in contact with the wall, that's what we like to see. Another yellow flag in sector 1, that is for the mark. I don't know which mark it's for though. It's going to be for only one mark, it's going to be for Wesley. Letting Atom pass, that's what the yellow flag is for. Bracy, you've got a fan in the chat, so obviously he wants some encouragement for you. Go man, go was all I've got to say there. Some love from the Bracy fan club here. Atom improves, he's now 1 minute 14, however he's still the slowest in the section. Topher is finally on his first out lap of the session. Scott not allowed to set a time this evening. Obviously he does have a quality ban, and so does Jess, for infringements from last time out in China. They got both of those drivers got in the way of another driver setting a hot lap. Remember, if you are reported to the stewards and you don't have footage, you can receive a quality ban, and if you are reported to the stewards for getting in the way of somebody during a hot lap, it's a quality ban as well. Cannot stress enough how many times the admin team would like me to remind you, you need to be recording your race, because if you are reported and you don't have footage, message from Scott down in paddock row, could have had a 10.7, but he bottled it, and that was the end of that. Monaco's not forgiving. That's one thing, they're definitely not. You never know, Scott, we may have you joining me in the comms box later on if you crash out early. I'm pretty sure that'd be a good comms duo. Me and you, mate, we've not done that for a while. It's been since Azerbaijan, I believe, was our last comms. No, it wasn't. It was the Netherlands. But it would still be good to be in the comms box again. Me and you, been itching to have another attempt at that. So we are on board with Topher. He's about to set his first hot lap of the evening. What can Topher bring to the party? After that, it'll be then drivers trying to improve as we then dash towards the checkered flag of the qualifying session. It's so surprising how quick 20 minutes have actually gone by, because the race started at 8 PM, yeah? Yeah, no problem. We'll get you added in there in a second. We'll get you added in there when we're looking at the times in a second, because I don't want people to miss out, obviously, on watching the race. So, Topher, what can he bring to the party this evening? Currently 13th with no time. Mark Wilson's called it a day. I think he's crashed out. Topher, 12th fastest, 1 minute 15. I believe we're going to jump on board with Dan so we can maybe get a view of what's happened to Mark if he hasn't despawned. He has now despawned. I believe Mark's had a bit of a crash with the wall, very similar to what Scott's had. Alright then, let's go and find somebody else to jump on board with. We had a bit of a... Who was that? That was Bracy. We caught the back end of that, mate. You had a bit of a tail wag there. So we're on board with Earl. I believe he's abandoned his current hot lap. I believe he's going to be going again. 36 seconds left in the session. I believe Dan will be the first driver to cross the line that can't improve. Well, he can improve, but he can't set any time. Well, he can set. You know what I'm saying? He'll be the first driver to cross the line after a checkered flag. I'm getting tongue-tied, people. I've been watching sports all day and doing time. Right then, Earl on a hot lap. Maybe jumping off of Earl in a second, because I think we're going to jump on board with Dan and see if he's invalidated, so no more from there. We're going to stay on board with Topher. I don't know if he's trying to improve. We'll soon find out in a second. He's not improving, so checker flags everywhere. So Topher, can he improve? The answer is no. Let's go and find a Mercedes to show some love to. That's a Phantom Nug. I believe he's desperately trying to get into the top 3 at least. Obviously his teammate Wesley's currently P2. He's doing well. He could be on for a good time. Narrowly steps out of the wall. What's he gonna do? He's gonna go. No improvement, P6, that's all it is. Next up to cross the line is going to be Adaptable Earl. What can Earl bring to the party? He's currently 1 minute 12, P3. He's on, can he do it? Crosses the last corner. Steaming down to the start-finish straight. What can he do? Adaptable Earl goes 5th fastest. 1 minute 12 flat. Lovely time there from Earl. Jenkins probably going to be the last and is the last driver to cross the line. He's called it a day, so that's going to be that will be our grid. So while we're doing that, I'm just going to quickly get Scott added to the party I'm currently in case he does decide to join us. So do bear with me. Gotta find him now. Where is he too? I think he's appearing offline. Yeah, he is. Right, so Scott, if you do DNF, mate, obviously do feel free to join the comms box. We may even have a trio. I'm still not going to reveal who's going to potentially be joining. Right then, so Dan once again is going to try and go for that perfect weekend. Dan goes P1, Wesley P2, Free4 P3, Bracy P4, Earl P5, Salvatore P6, Phantom Lug P7, Jenkins P8, Mark Wilson P9, Wee Rabby P10, Atom P11, Topher P12, and then Scott and Jess, both not setting the time due to a qualifying ban from the last round. It's going to be an interesting one here in Monaco. Like I said, you either love it or you hate it. It's like Marmite, and we have got 39 laps of racing ahead of us. There's been a little bit of a debate in the paddock chat today. Wanted to know, when is Red Flags going to return? Well, we're going to take a look at it during this 2-week break. And if they do work, because apparently they have claimed that it's fixed on the EA website. So the admin team are going to take a look at it, and they are going to see if red flags are finally usable, because for the second half of the season, red flags may finally make their awaited return. But it's race time. Let's see what happens. 39 laps of racing are in front of these drivers. There's 14 drivers on the track. How many do you think are going to cross the checkered flag at the very end? Answers in the comments section below. I am going to go with maybe 5. Now, I'm not going to say which 5, but I think we're only going to have 5 drivers cross the line in this Grand Prix. It's an evil circuit, but if you can master it and you can tame it, it's a bloody good watch. So the drivers are just setting up, obviously, what they want their strategy to be. Obviously, we do ask that everybody that is racing, that you do show respect to your fellow drivers and grant them that time that they need to decide strategy. But I can hear the timer counting down already, so I don't think people showed mercy. I don't think people showed the sportsmanship. But we are now waiting for the 5 red lights for this Grand Prix. It is 5 lights out and away we go. It's always a delayed start with it being crossplay, but it's a good start. Dan's got a great start there. There's some push-up and changes straight away. Earl's up to P4, Mark's up to P7, Topher's up to P9. There's some wing damage straight away in the background. I don't know who's been damaged. I believe that's Salvatore. Salvatore drops to P14. No safety car. Salvatore has come pretty much to a stop. And he has got full wing damage, just down to P13. I believe that's the yellow flag over and done with, and we are back away with racing in the Monaco Grand Prix. Like I said, 39 laps await us. How many of these drivers are going to finish? Now, a mixed strategy here from the drivers. Quite a few of the drivers have gone for medium. Most of the drivers have gone for medium, actually. Then half the grid's pretty much gone for hards, but the one driver on the softs is Topher. Interesting strategy call. What would your strategy call be this evening if you were to do that? Now then, Dan out in front. Wesley P2. Free4 P3. Earl P4. Let's see what can happen here tonight, as Dan is going to be the man to set the benchmark for fastest lap of the race. There's a bit of a lock-up from Wesley. Mark drops to P8. Severe collision with Mark Wilson from Bracy. No, there's damage. There's a VSC. That's going to slow everyone right down. Oh, there's contact between Severe Scott and Mark Wilson as they enter the pit lane. A 5-second penalty for Mark Wilson. That's 10 seconds worth of penalty straight away there, I believe. No, it's not. It's 5, because Bracy had 5. 3 drivers coming to pit. Severe Scott's coming to pit for wing damage. Mark's done the same, and Salvatore's done the same. Right there, so we'll jump on board with Dan while the VSC is out. Look everywhere. Jenkins also has a time penalty. Let's see what he's got his He's got a 5 second as... No, Jenkins hasn't got a 5 seconds. Bracing's down looking at. I do apologise. It's been a long day. And we are back underway with racing. The VSC has been brought in. Obviously no DRS until the next lap. Bit of a lock up there for Dan, but nothing too major. Wesley trying to hunt down Dan. I believe Wesley is currently P2 in the championship as it stands. Just let me get that up on my... And it is Wesley that's currently P2 in the championship. I'm looking at China's results there. There we go. Yeah, Wesley's currently P2 in the championship. Dan has 4 wins, well, 3 for points. Obviously, he won pre-season as well. He has 3 wins under his belt as points, and Wesley has 2. Dan has a silver, and Wesley has a bronze. So, main rival at the minute for Dan is Wesley. Atom goes fastest, 1 minute 20.8. No drivers out, so yeah, Salvatore managed to hold on. And he's still in this Grand Prix, which is what we like to see. Bit of a lock up there from the driver in front. I believe that was for Dan. Maybe Wesley can put some gas in and get going. 3-4's doing really well. Mark Wilson goes fastest in the lobby now. He's gone 1 minute 9.9. See what happens here. You gotta love the sound of the tunnel as drivers go through it. Let's jump on board with Topher. Listen to that engine as they go through the Monaco tunnel, one of the famous parts of this track. Salvatore has come in to pit again. He's now changed the mediums and he has called it a day. He feels that maybe that collision at the start wasn't for him. Dan goes fastest, 1 minute 12.5, showing why he is currently leading the championship. Losing the back end, getting a bit happy. Obviously the AI of Salvatore has come back on track. Wesley trying to hunt down his rival. 3-4. He's got top 3 at minute. He's hunting for a fast win here in SRL. I believe 3-4 has got a podium under his belt. He has. He picked up a bronze in Miami. He'd be looking to pick up another bronze again, or maybe something else. As Adaptable Earl has wing damage again. Again? No, first time Earl's got wing damage. Jenkins sticking quite close to Earl there. On board with this battle. Can Jenkins get round Earl? Yes, he has. He's got round Earl. Corner cut in there as well to avoid a collision. Probably would have had a warning there for track limits, but with having no wing around Monaco, it is quite hard. Hopefully Earl can get it back to the pits, get a new wing, and keep going once again. But Jenkins is up to P4. He's put in time on the track this week. He's desperate for a Monaco win, is what he... On record is what he said. He wants that win in Monaco. That's where Earl's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's a massive shame, Earl, but don't let it dishearten you too much, mate. Get that wing on and get going again. You could potentially serve it again later on, so there will be 1 or 2 more safety cars left in this tail yet. Atom moves up to P8 with Earl being in the pits. Jess moves up to P9 with Earl being in the pits. Where can Earl come out? It's going to be alongside Mark, I believe. This could get spicy quite quickly. Mark's in front. Yeah, Mark managing to just get in front there of Adaptable Earl. Severe Scott is currently P12. Obviously, we only award points just like in actual F1 down to P10. There's a slight contact between Mark and Earl. Careful, boys. It's a hard track. You could take each other out quite quickly here. Obviously, we don't want anyone going home too early. We've already had 1. Survival with the fittest, boys. Survival with the fittest. Now, we've had 1 VSC tonight. We've not had our first full safety car. It is probably coming. Stick on board. See if these two can build a bit of a gap between each other. That's the gap between the leader. I've just noticed we are on leader. There we are. Sorry, there's the interval. Jenkins does come into pit. He's got slight damage, I believe. Or as he said, those medium tyres just ain't for him. Let's see what tyres he's going on for. He's going on for a set of hards. He has got wing damage. There's a new fresh wing going on. Topher moves up to P6 and Atom moves up to P7 as a result. Jess is now P8. I don't think Mark's going to potentially could do here. I think Jenkins might get out just in time. Where is he going to end up on track? I think he's going to take P9. Mark's not going to be able to catch up just yet. So, Jenkins comes out P9. There's a few penalties starting to appear now, but Mark has the warning tyres already. He might be able to get around Jenkins quite easily. Only time will tell. Top three, no real change there at the moment. Scott still P3, Wesley still P2, Dan P1. But, like I said, in Monaco, the positions mean nothing. You've got to hold on and dig in. Good break in there from Dan, showing why he is currently our World Championship leader. Wesley hot on his tail, desperate to get another win off him and try and desperately close that gap. Basically, if Dan was to crash out this evening and Wesley was to get the win, Wesley would take control of the World Drivers' Championship. There's Bracey, show Bracey some love. Let me hear the Bracey fan club. I want to hear the Bracey fan clubs, I know they exist. Phantom Nug, P5 and hunting down Bracey. Topher, P6, having a bit of a battle with his mate Atom. Atom trying to catch up to his mate. Obviously, Atom's got the medium tyres. Have the softs either come into their own or the softs feeling it already? That's the question. Atom looking to be the quicker of the two drivers. Going to be wanting to get the move done maybe in the tunnel. Not Wise doing it here. Jess, all by herself at the minute, all on her lonesome. Jenkins, all on his, wow, I say he's all on his lonesome. You got the likes of Mark Wilson catching up and adaptable Earl. Earl with the fresher tyres. Earl goes for the move on the inside and Mark hits the wall and Mark is out of the Grand Prix. And that is a safety car. Well, that's one for the stewards to look into. That is one for the stewards to look into. Now this is going to shape the remainder of the race. First safety car on track. First one in the wall and completely out. Wow. We'll jump on board with our championship leader.
Wilson in the mud.
Wow. So, what we're going to do is we are going to potentially get a driver into the chat with us. We could have a whole army of comms at this rate. Right then, let's... So, while the safety car is going around, we are going to get Mark Wilson into the comms box. Obviously, we could be joined by SRL 34 shortly, and still a guest driver yet to appear. Now, I just need to find... Why am I looking there? Apologies. Invite players, friends... Can you tell that I'm not really good at this whole invite friends to parties and stuff? It's not really my thing. That's why I get AFL to do this bit. It allows me to focus on doing the comms. Alright, where's M? I'm miles away. There he is. Right then, so Mark has been invited to the comms box. We'll see if he So, safety car, obviously, projected to probably come in, probably on lap 10. So, we'll get under racing again on lap 11. So, still a while to go yet, people, and still plenty more DNFs to appear. I'm pretty sure of it. see if he joins. It's if he joins. I don't know if he's joining or not. I do apologise for anyone that is watching at home. There he is. He has joined me in my comms box. Mark, welcome to the Inner Sanctum, which is the SRL comms box. Obviously, we was on board with you with the incident, mate. Obviously, talk us through it. Talk us through what happened. Obviously, remember you are live on air. Man, a few words, ladies and gentlemen. Safety car predicted to be in probably this lap, maybe now pushing to lap 12 while we wait for...
Sorry, mate, I was muted there.
First blunder.
Talking.
Right there. No worries, mate. Obviously, early exit for yourself on lap 8. Obviously, the reason why you're... obviously, had a bit of a bump. Talk us through what happened, mate, but just remember you are live on air.
Just coming to the corner that they're at with the safety car. Just an optimistic move down the inside, which was never on, and he put me into a wall. But that'll be reported, and we move on.
We move on, indeed, mate. Obviously, we'll get it reported to the stewards, and the stewards will do what's necessary. But it does mean, mate, you are now in the comms box, which means you can keep an eye on the race, and you can have a breathe and have a look at what me, 3-4, and AFL do.
I'm actually looking forward to it.
Is this your first comms?
It's not my first comms, no. I've done CRL.
Okay.
But it's nice to not be racing around that track, if you want my honest opinion.
Was it a track you was looking forward to, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Well, it's over with now, mate, so sit back, relax, and get ready.
I'll be enjoying your amazing comms, just here as a side hustle.
Fair enough. Well, safety car is in this lap. Dan will obviously be leading the restart. Dan's opted not to pit, still on those original medium tyres, and he's away. Off we go, racing again on lap 11. Obviously, we can now talk about this. Obviously, Dan currently in a world of his own at the moment in SRL, leading the World Championship by 22 points.
Yeah, he's a fast driver, isn't he, old Dan?
He is a very fast driver. Topher, unfortunately, there we picked it up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, and we Rabbi, I believe.
I think Wesley has got the pace as well, though. So I'd be surprised if he sticks with him the whole race.
It's been quite interesting. Well. 3-4's doing well, obviously up into P3. Wesley has stuck with him quite well this race so far. There's not been any real opportunity until now to get close, so maybe, just maybe, Wesley can get the move done on Dan. It all depends obviously how tyre degs and setups have gone. Talk us through what your plan was, Mark, obviously for your setup. What was the pit strat for yourself?
Well, I mean, if I didn't hit the wing off, it would have probably been a hard medium. But, you know, I was underfueled. I was expecting a few safety cars.
Yeah.
Which I probably think that most of these boys will probably have. They'll probably be underfueled, expecting quite a few safety cars. So, if they don't come, the safety cars, it could be quite interesting with a bit of fuel saving at the end. We'll have to see.
I'm just on board with Jenkins at the moment. He's trying to get past Jess. Jenkins felt quietly confident going into this race. He's been practicing all week. He's been putting in the time at the office, and he's been desperate for a win, Mark. He really wants to get that win. Now, speaking of which, we did have a little bit of a battle there between the two AlphaTauris. That's what Earl getting past his teammate Severe Scott, who obviously had a quali ban this evening, and so did Jess. So Jess up to P6 from Stone Dead last, and Earl up to Severe Scott into the points from 10th. Probably imagine that they'd be quite happy. Obviously, you had a quali ban earlier on the season, Mark. How was it feel like from going from back of the grid to getting into the points?
I mean, this is obviously we've overtaken, but Jess, you know, 11 lap old from hard. She's not doing too bad in 7th. And Severe Scott as well. I mean, he's 10th. You know, there could still be some safety car incidents and he could move his way up.
Well, speaking of which, Severe Scott has ploughed it into a wall and he's lost his wing. So I can only imagine he's going to be coming into...
Commentator's curse there.
Oh, 100%. It's rife today, mate. Every time I've mentioned someone's name, a couple of seconds later, they've ended up going in a wall. It is always the way. It's the same at CRL, it's the same at SRL. Pretty sure it's majority of leagues.
I think out in front though, I mean Dan he's got Wesley, he's nearly 3.5 seconds ahead now.
Dan, like I said earlier on, man is in a league of his own.
Flying.
He is flying, and I know we're only halfway through the season, because obviously after today, obviously there's then a 2-week break, so sit back, relax, mate, enjoy them 2 weeks. Try not to think about racing here at SRL for 2 weeks, obviously, because you've still got 2 weeks left of racing yet to do at CRL, where you'll be pushing for your championship at CRL.
Yeah, I've got to stay focused for that.
Exactly. So try not to worry about too much which has happened tonight or previous weeks. Just get your head in the game and you'll be all right, mate. But Dan is on track to winning the Drivers' Championship here at SRL. He is the favourite, but he has proven to be beatable. Obviously, he didn't win Miami and he didn't win Saudi Arabia.
A nice little freeway battle here between Jess, Topher and L, all very within a second of each other.
Let's have a jump on board and see what happens there. So, I'm on board with Earl at the minute as the back of the grid. Bracey's. Yeah, but it's allowed Bracey to move back up into the points. He's now P10. Scott has decided not to retire. He's still going, which is good to see, because obviously there can still be...
There's no need to retire on this track. Like you're seeing, there's 2 DNF so far. There could be plenty more. Oh, and Topher's just hit Jess. I don't know if that's damage.
Oh, let's have a look. I can't see any on Jess and I can't see any on Topher, so it might just be minor. Earl picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
That seemed like a fair old whack into that hairpin.
Well, we'll soon find out if either of them come into pit. 3-4 has said that he will join us if he DNFs, but at the moment, I'll tell you what, he's flying, he's in P3, he'll be happy.
Yeah, he's got that P3 in the bag by the looks of it. Quite a few seconds ahead of Phantom now. And I mean, he's only 2 seconds off of Wesley by the looks of it. I mean, a little mistake by Wesley and this could all be his for a second.
Exactly, so...
Dan is running away with it though.
Dan is running away with it, the man is in a league of own. He's SRL's very own Max Verstappen.
Oh, no!
Oh!
I have to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, you're in the comms box at the moment, mate. You have to be completely impartial. You're comms now. You're not a racer. Obviously, anything you need to say, mate, say it in the stewards and leave it there.
As a steward, and obviously seeing that as comms, I think there may be a penalty coming that way.
Possibly, but for the people at home that are wondering, going, how can a driver be a steward? Well, as the founder and head admin of SRL, and Mark will even vouch for me on this, if a driver is a steward and he is involved in the incident, I mute them during that discussion. They have no say whatsoever.
Yep, absolutely.
However, if you are interested in becoming a steward for SRL, obviously do feel free to join the SRL server. We're always looking out for new stewards and potentially new drivers. We're halfway through the season. We are looking forward to the future, which is the second season of SRL. Only if we have enough drivers, though. I'd like to have 2 tiers going. I want an F1 league and an F2 league, ideally, but that's in an ideal world. But I'll tell you what, though, I don't know if you're keeping an eye on Atom. Atom's now up to P4.
Go on, the boy.
And that's because Scott has come in for his
I've got
pick.
to be impartial, but I mean, I'm rooting for Adam.
Obviously, we've raced with Atom outside of SRL. Obviously, we're racing in the CRL Tier 5. Obviously, Scott does the comms for us in Tier 5. Well, I'll tell you what, who's new to the Tier 5 family at CRL, mate. I'm jumping on board with him now. Is Mr. Phantom Nug. He's a reserve driver.
Doing well there on the hards, P3.
Ooh.
I'm guessing 3-4's fitted, yeah.
He has pitted, yeah. He's coming for a fresh sort of mediums.
So he actively sort of makes up the time.
Well, he has told me his strat 4 today. He messaged me it, but obviously, because in people obviously like to have the stream on in the background, I'm not going to say what his strat is out loud. That wouldn't be fair.
What is it? Don't hit the barriers.
Well, that's one of his strats. I mean, that's mine normally when it comes to Monaco. Hey, I tell you what, though, I did a new best for myself. I survived 11 laps of Monaco when testing it out earlier today
Wow,
with Sea of Safety
that was
cars.
longer than I lasted tonight.
I think my longest stint before that in Monaco was 7 laps. So the fact I got an extra 4 laps in, that's I'm proud of myself for it.
Pretty impressive.
Considering I hate Monaco, I hate it with a passion, mate. Oh, bump off the wall there for wee Rabbi, who was on board for that.
People flying at the minute.
He's looking to catch up to Bracey.
It's just it's one of them tracks, though. It's just so difficult to overtake.
It is. There ain't many opportunities, and it's like Marmite as well. Let's face it. You either love Monaco or you hate it. There's no in between.
I'm in the second part of that category.
I couldn't agree with you more. However, to spice things up, obviously we threw Monaco in calendar 1, so it probably won't appear anytime soon in the near future. But it will pop up again at some point. It's inevitable. But I know a lot of people.
For that next one. Oh, it looks like Bracey and Jess Play Games are going to be. Oh, if Bracey goes, he makes a stick, but he goes a bit wide. Oh, they're side by side.
It's a good little battle here going on for P7. Obviously, Scott's also been tied up in this as well.
Scott needs to get past these people, these two here. Then really, he can start putting some pressure on Wesley because he'll be flying around.
He can.
He may have. Put the switch back here. Yep. And there he goes.
There he goes, managing to get past Jess Plays Games. 3-4 back up to P8 and slowly making his way back up again. While we were in the middle of all that, Jenkins picked up another 3-second time penalty for multiple infringements. Wee Rabbi comes into pit. I can only assume he got damaged when he went into that wall, like I said. I can see a wing.
My teammate.
Obviously Alfa Romeo teammates. Obviously you started off your life here in SRL as a Red Bull driver. Obviously you left because you didn't think you'd be able to commit to the... But came back when SRL desperately needed you to fill the grid. So, technically speaking, you had a mid-season transfer.
I've had a transfer, yeah. I've been paid more money.
Oh, is that what it is? Alfa Romeo have more money than Red Bull?
Well, I don't know. Maybe on the game.
I was going to say, in the Spider universe, maybe Red Bull's not the...
Yeah.
Speaking of which, obviously, speaking of Red Bull, obviously, just another massive congratulations to the Red Bull team again today. Max Verstappen becoming an official three times world champion.
Oh, I've just run on board with Atom and he's lost his wing. Sorry,
dude. And that's put Jenkins up to P4. And that's a shame because Atom was feeling quietly confident again about this track. I know he's been putting in effort this week.
Straight onto the softs.
I wonder if he's expecting another safety car then. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. There's still 20 laps in this race left.
It's a long race, Monaco. Obviously, I know it's only 1 minute 10 on average for your times, but 39 laps of racing.
A long old time, innit?
It is.
It's one of those. It requires full attention. It requires full confidence, full attention, and by the end of it, you're absolutely drained.
Shattered. Yeah. And it is. I couldn't agree with you more there. And it is one slight moment where you're not paying attention and you're in a war.
That's right, yeah.
And it literally is. Sneeze, blink at the wrong time, and it is. You're out. Well, Scott is now in a battle with Bracey. Fresh mediums versus old mediums. I wonder who the winner's going to be.
I think he needs to pick his moment right here. He's got a lot more grip than Bracey. He just needs to pick it right.
Well, we're pretty much just over the halfway point now of this Grand Prix. Only 2 DNFs so far. Speaking of which, oh no! As I say that, literally as I say it, Atom is out of the Grand Prix, and that will be another safety car.
I've jinxed him.
And I think I said it as well.
Oh god.
Oh, Atom.
In fact, it's been all week as well.
He has, but he lasted longer than me, and he lasted longer than you.
He did. He definitely did.
And then there were 11. Now then.
A long old week, I think, for these drums.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I believe, is coming into pit now, and he is, and Wesley is following him in as well, I believe. Severe Scott Sorry, I interrupted you there, mate.
That's alright, mate. It's not just Severe Scott's got another penalty for coming into the pits too quickly.
You can serve it again, because no doubt there probably will be another safety car again at some point. Phantom is trying to catch up.
And going on to hards there.
Phantom's coming in. I wonder if he's going to go to mediums.
You'd hope so. Maybe softs. Depends what mediums.
It is a set of mediums. Jenkins also coming in.
What's been in 7th still, but there's people in the pits.
Jenkins, he's coming in for a fresh set of mediums. I can see that arrow there in the background. He's coming in for a fresh set of mediums. Jess has also come in. She's coming in for a fresh set of mediums. But it does mean that Wee Rabby and Severe Scott will be brought back into this race. And I tell you what, though, what it means is, mate, actually, no, I think Severe Scott's been lapped. Just looking at the map at the minute, because the safety car has picked up Dan. Severe Scott's P11, which means he should be behind Dan, if I'm correct, in this queue now. Which means Severe Scott has been lapped.
He has, yeah. I mean, Dan has lapped him. I'm guessing that's Wesley behind him.
It is Wesley behind him, yeah.
Which doesn't do any favours for Wesley, because now he's going to be in the way.
Yeah. But blue flag should be applied, obviously, on the restart, so Scott will need to get out of the way unless Scott decides to come to pits.
Oh.
Which he has. What's Scott going to do? Is he going to call it a day, or is he... Because he'd still be a lap down, wouldn't he? But
yeah.
There's still potential to unlap himself.
I mean, there's points here, top 10, so...
There is points on. He's served his 5-second penalty. He's put on a fresh pair of softs and he's out as he goes again. Because Scott's done the right thing there, in my opinion. Yes, okay, he's a lap down. But there's probably going to be another safety car at some point, which will bring him back into the race. I mean, look at me, Brazil, last season at SRL. Went a lap down, unlapped myself, and on the podium.
Yep, it's definitely a way to get yourself back into the race, especially Monaco. I mean, you're definitely going to get more safety cars.
Oh, 100%. Start of this stream, I predict that only 5 drivers were going to finish. We've currently 3 down. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to go before we hit my target of 5. But all it takes is for one more to go out, and then the last 10.
With a more bunched up as well. I mean,
especially on the restart as well. Well, popping up in the chat at the moment, we do have the Pokemon catching minigame. Obviously, if you do want to play along with that, obviously make sure you've got your starter Pokemon. You can do it by pressing Pokestart, and it will give you your starter Pokemon, and then you can play along with catching Pokemon. It's a fun little minigame. It's what we like to do around here. Just takes the opportunity to eat a little bit of tea. I ate most of it before the race started. Just didn't finish it all. But 3-4 is now back up to P4. Let's have a look at positions lost and gained. So, fastest lap, no surprises with Dan at the moment. Right, position change. So, Dan and Wesley are still in their positions where they started. Bracey is up 1. 3-4 is down 1.
I think they'll change around at the restart.
There's still potential there. We're probably not going to get racing again underway until lap 25. Phantom Nug is up to 2 to P5, Jenkins is up 2 to P6, Arrow is down 2 to P7, Jess is up 6 positions in 8th, Wee Rabby's up 1, Topher is up 2, and Severe Scott is also up 2. Everyone has at least stopped once. Severe Scott on a 4 stop at the moment alongside Wee Rabby.
It makes Adam feel any better for DNFing. He only lost 1 position from DNFing, so...
Exactly, so...
You can take that away with you, sir.
You can. It's not an easy track, mate. You did better than me.
Just 8 games though, up to 6 positions gained, that's pretty impressive.
It is. Especially on this track. Just getting
Race,
a
Racing on
overtake.
12 lap old mediums is gonna be struggling.
Mm. Safety car is in this lap as well, so the safety car does believe that, I think that's the Topher in the background there in the Ferrari. Even though he's in 10th, he's
Yeah,
at the
he
very
should
back
catch
of the
up.
pack. Yeah, he's caught up. So we're going to jump on board with our race leader and current championship leader, and we'll get underway with the restart in 2 corners times. Now, is he going to leave it late, or is he going to go early? I think he's going to leave it late by the looks of it. Maybe hoping to maybe try and catch Wesley snoozing. I don't think he has, though. Wesley is stuck with him. And we're underway again at Monaco for the 3rd time. Blue flags are being shown, no doubt that is going to be for Severe Scott. That's why I'm picking up another 3-second time penalty this evening. Penalties are starting to fly fucking fast now, Mark.
Just hit the wall as well, and that's the wall, so I just went on board with him.
Any damage?
Not that I know of.
It could be only minor. Obviously, time will tell. Wesley is sticking to Dan like glue at the minute. I think Dan was hoping he may have caught Wesley snoozing, but Wesley hasn't been caught snoozing.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Wesley has some sort of pace advantage on his cards. On the mediums, Dan looks a lot quicker, so...
Dan's slowly starting to build that gap.
Oh, there's been a massive crash! Free fall! It's hit... I'm not sure who he's hit, but he's hit someone.
I believe it's the Aston Martin of Bracey, because Bracey's spinning around in ghosted mode.
Oh dear, I didn't manage to catch on board with it.
Free fall has got damage as well. Scott's got no choice but to come in. Just get it repaired, Scott, and get back out on track. A couple of drivers in the Phantom Nuggers also into pit as well.
We Rabby up to 5th as well.
Bracey's also come in. Fresh set of mediums coming his way as well.
I mean, I must have just missed that on board.
Well, we thought Errol may have had some wing damage. He hasn't. He's now up to P3. Jess up to P4. She'll be absolutely buzzing about being in P4 from where she started.
No safety car there.
I was quite surprised. That was a big impact. At the very least, a VSC.
I think Phantom Nug got affected by that as well, did he?
He did. He came into pit. He's on fresh mediums. I don't know if he had to change his wing or not, but he was affected by it.
18 seconds behind Topher. That's a massive gap.
Dan going fastest lap again with 1 minute 12. He's looking to convert it to the perfect weekend again. On track to doing it again. If Dan can get a win here today, and Wesley can still finish P2, it's still... Wesley, if Dan was to crash out again, obviously when we come back in Brazil, Wesley could still try and take this championship. There's not a full race in between them yet, if it ends like it did now.
It takes a lot as well. I mean, leading a race, it takes a lot of concentration to, you know, just to keep there.
Yeah, it does.
So let's see if he's done it before. Let's just see if he can do it around Monaco. Hold on.
Well, if you remember when it came to Miami, it came down to the final lap itself between Dan and Wesley. On the second to last corner.
I thought you were talking about SRL then.
Oh, SRL. Oh, no, I was on a different wavelength. Oh, which...
It's the last corner between me and the TO.
Yes, no, you are right. It happened, obviously, in CRL, and it happened in SRL as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
I think it's for Bracey letting Wesley through.
Free fall all the way down to P9. Was on for such a good race, but he'll be getting his... Anything can still happen yet, let's face it.
I think Jenkins is all over the place.
He is. I think Jenkins, another driver that was on for such a good race, and I think the collision he had just. But Scott now round. Scott obviously picked up the fastest lap as well. Still a long way yet, mate. Still an awful long way to go.
Especially on this track.
Speaking of tracks, let's take a look to the future. So, obviously, we've got 2 weeks coming up as the final break for SRL. Let's see. Come aboard Bracy while we're talking about the calendar. So, yeah, we've got a 2 week break coming up, so there'll be no racing for the next 2 weeks. One, because I'm away next weekend, and the weekend after, it's my partner's birthday. So, and the Saturday is her birthday.
For Jess.
Hmm?
Happy birthday to Jess.
Ah, there we go, then. 2 weeks early, but who's counting? But, yeah, so Jess's birthday is actually on a Saturday this year, so for that reason, obviously, that's why nothing's been scheduled for that day. But when we then come back, it will be then a mad dash to the finish with 8 races, starting off in Brazil, then it will be going to Mexico, then we'll be heading to Imola or Monza, I think it's Imola first, then it is Austria, then it's down to Abu Dhabi, then over to Belgium, one of your favourite tracks, I do believe, then to Monza, and then for the season finale in Las Vegas. Tell me, Mark, what's your thoughts on having the season finale in Las Vegas?
I mean, a lot of people don't like the track. I actually quite enjoy it. It's going to be different. No one's going to practice it as much as they practice all the other tracks. Yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. I mean, it's going to be. I think the title will be wrapped up by then. In my opinion.
The constructors could very still be alive, though.
Of course, yeah. There's obviously points to play for, and I just can't wait to race around it. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Obviously, the admin team are currently, well, just me at the minute. Obviously, the next season's calendar will be going up for debate with the admin team very, very shortly for us to all look over and decide upon.
Be voting for Monaco.
Don't worry. Monaco, I can confirm, isn't. The only track which I will confirm that is definitely going to appear in Season 2 is Australia. Obviously, because unfortunately we had to cancel Australia.
Belgium.
Well, Belgium could be there, but the tracks that haven't appeared on the calendar this season will get the priority, and then we'll fill in the gaps then with other tracks. Obviously, the winner of the World Championship will get a track of his own to choose. Obviously, it's only fair. But kind of hoping maybe chooses Qatar, because I quite like that track. I'm not going to lie, it's been my favourite of the games so far.
God, what penalty?
The penalty Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's not a bad track to drive. I mean, when we raced around it in SRL, I quite enjoyed it. So.
What, did you not enjoy it when we raced around it in CRL?
I wasn't there that week, so.
Oh, was you not?
Nah, so to race around SRL was obviously new to me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I like it. It's definitely one of the best tracks they've added to the game in a long time. Who knows? You never know. They may add back the dreaded Vietnam one day. I hope not. Yeah, nightmares for all. Scott picks up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. His day's just going from bad to worse. Everyone's pretty much spaced out at the moment, mate.
Yeah, the only one that I'm keeping a sort of tabs on is Freefall. It seems to be on them softs and absolutely flying. It seems to be catching Phantom Nug as well.
Well, Jess is slowly catching Earl by the looks of it. Slowly. But I think, unless we get a safety car now, I think we're looking at the final positions of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, unless something crazy happens, I think. I mean, yeah, everyone's spaced out. The only one that I think has a chance maybe a top 5 is Freefall at the minute.
Well, Severe Scott's coming to pit again. He's going on to old scrub mediums.
Interesting.
Well, it's one of those. He knows that he's either going to get a point or it's going to be just hold on, let's face it. His teammate is coming up behind him though. Arrow is currently sitting P3. there seems to be a bit of a battle going on here now for P5, so let's both stick on board with this for now, because I think this is where the most action's going to be for a little bit.
It looks like Tofa's out of ERS. He's flashing, so he's not going to have that ERS to boost him round. Scott's got 59%, and Jess has got 57%. Oh no, it does say that Tofa's got 98%, but
I was going to
on
say.
my screen he was flashing, so...
Interesting. Maybe it's just a coy, maybe there's a plan down at the front. Maybe it's all part of the Ferrari master plan, mate.
Oh, well, if it's part of the Ferrari master plan, it'll crash out in a minute.
Ouch.
They seem to normally mess that up, don't they?
As a Ferrari fan, yes.
I tried to keep Ferrari's hopes alive in CRL, but...
Yeah, you've done a good job in CRL. For Ferrari, you've done an amazing job there this season, to be fair. But the battle for P5 is very much on at the moment, with nearly 6 laps left to go of this Grand Prix. Who's going to get that 5th spot? No, only time's going to tell. Scott's desperate to get round, like you can see he's putting in. Obviously, Phantom Nug hasn't got as much DRS as the rest.
Yeah, he's all over him though, and he's Phantom Nug. I don't know who you're riding on board with, but...
I'm on board with Scott at the minute.
I'm on board with Nug, so... Oh, little nudge there from Nug on Tofa. There'll be no damage.
No, it'll just be a love tap.
Love tap, yeah.
Trading some paint is what I like to call it.
Scott probably getting frustrated here behind these two.
Yeah, he'll be looking to get the move done soon. He's trying to get the inside lane on the Mercedes. Backs out to avoid any potential damage. Now, can he get it done as they come down here?
Not enough ERS, so I think unless he gets past his Ferrari, I think. Oh, he's just got a penalty. Oh, and he's hit him as well. Oh, I think free fall will just be biding his time here.
He is. I'm on board with him at the minute. He's preserving his ERS that he's got at the moment, and he's waiting to. He's potentially going to get the move done now down the outside. We've got a yellow flag. A severe Scott's DNF'd on the hill, and it's a safety car. It's a late game safety car here in Monaco.
Wow.
A late game safety car. Now, I don't know what happened with Scott because we weren't on board with him. I'm hoping it wasn't a deliberate crash out. But Scott is out of the Grand Prix, which means the last 10 drivers will be all scoring points this evening. Dan and Wesley are in for fresh softs. Earl will be the next one to join. He's got wing damage, so he'll probably definitely coming in. Jess, she hasn't got wing damage, but just, let's face it, you've got to go for softs at this point. I don't know if you're feeling the same, mate, or not, but at this point, surely it's got to be softs.
Yeah, whoever's pitting, you'd have to be putting on the softs. You can't be putting anything else on at this stage.
I was coming in for a wing change and some softs. Maybe, just maybe, Jess can get around. I think Jess is opting to not pit. She isn't. She's staying out on those mediums. She's going for track position to get in front of adaptable Earl. Maybe, just maybe, those mediums have got enough life in them to take it to the end. I mean, it's not going to be... The safety car is only programmed to stay out to lap 37. Earl's into pit and free fall's potentially going to...
Before it's been released.
He's been released, so Earl into P4, Scott to P5, Nug to P6. He's staying out on those mediums as well. Free fall to P5. Jenkins is P7.
Who would you say would be your... I mean, the top two seem to be set.
The battle for P3 is on. All depends on what condition those mediums are in from Jess. Earl looking like he's on those fresh softs.
I think this is free falls, no penalties.
It will be free fall with no penalties. All he's got to do is stay calm. Let the two in front of him battle it out, and a P3 is on the cards for him. but he's got to stay calm. Hopefully, that's what he's doing at minute. But there's still a long... Even though there's not many laps left, in Monaco it's still a long way to that checkered flag. Anything can happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, if Scott does get it, I mean, he's done a massive recovery drive, obviously getting involved in that crash, and back up to P3. He'll be absolutely buzzing for that reason. Dan to keep this championship alive. Wesley will be trying to do it to obviously try and close that gap just a little bit. The only thing is that what I've just noticed, if you look at the front of the pack where the safety car is, in between Dan and Wesley is the Aston Martin of Bracy. Now that will be interesting. Will Bracy just let Wesley go? Or would he try and play defence? Yeah, we'll find out. Obviously, people get pally-pally with people in the paddock. We don't know what they discuss behind the scenes, so it's you never know. Is there something there? And the drivers will be looking to regroup. The drivers will need to regroup by lap 37 at the very latest, because no more safety cars from lap 38.
Yeah, you'd have to worry for whoever's at the back there. Is it?
I believe it'll be
Rabi. You'd have to hope that he
can catch up.
He gets a move on, because
the safety car is not going to wait around for too long.
It's definitely not, no, and within 2 laps that's going to go. So he should have enough time, I reckon.
Yeah.
The only person, well, the only 3 people without penalties are the top 3, wasn't it? That qualified. It was Dan, Wesley, and Priest.
Scott. The top 3 from quali is currently looking at a 1-2-3. All it takes is just for that one false move, and it's curtains. I really hope nothing bad happens. But I've got this horrible, horrible feeling we've not read the end of this story yet, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, you'd say from this whole race that Dan has absolutely cruised to victory.
And let's face it, if he can win around Monaco, he can win pretty much everywhere. This is the hardest track on the calendar. Nothing's decided in stone yet, but I do believe.
Oh, says Corian.
Well, so Rabi needs to hurry up and catch up to that pack as quickly as he can.
I think he should do. I mean, Dan's got to back him up now. So,
yeah. But as I was saying, it's we are a long way from the finish yet. We're only halfway through the story at the minute, but I do believe that Dan is looking at becoming SRL's first champion.
Oh, I think Rabi's just hit the barrier. He's tried to catch up. And Dan's away.
No damage for Rabi as it looks, so I think Dan's...
Oh!
What's happened?
There's been a massive crash between Jess and Adaptable. Jess has lost multiple positions. Oh, I just jumped on board at the last second again.
Oh, I missed it. I missed it.
Once again, I can't say anything.
Nope.
I'm hoping that it's painting a picture.
Anyway, you've got 3-4 now up to P4. I bet he sat there rubbing his hands going, that's 1 down, just 1 to go. How many time second penalties has Earl got on his name? He's got 9 seconds worth of penalties. So Scott, all he's got to do is...
He's on board with this. I think people will just stick with him fine. I don't think he'll do anything stupid.
Blue flags are being shown for Bracy. Scott gets round. Dan goes fastest at 1 minute 11.0.
Yeah, he's in a world of his own. He's already 2.4 seconds to clear. Like,
He is.
so.
Man is a living legend at the minute for SRL. He came in, and he's literally just taken us by storm. 100% destined for bigger than better things.
100%.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
We're watching Phantom Nug here because with the penalty situation, if he can just keep this up, he will be finishing P4 ahead of actual Earl.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. Jump on board with Adaptable Earl, who's got 3-4 slowly hunting him down. If he was in 3-4 position, would you just stay back and go, you know what, I haven't got to push?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, knowing how everyone races, I would definitely just be staying where I am, and there's no chance. Even if Phantom Nug put him off and overtook him, it'd still be ahead of him and Earl. So
it has been a long race this evening. We have had 20 minutes of qualifying.
Phantom Nug's out.
What happened?
I didn't see it once again, but I think it was contact with Jenkins.
We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see if it gets reported to the stewards. But as I was saying, it's been a long day. We've had 20 minutes of quali, 39 laps of racing. He is on board for his 4th win of the season. He's currently leading the World Championship, and Dan will win the first ever SRL Monaco Grand Prix and makes it look easy once again. Wesley will come home P2. Adaptable Earl will cross the line P3, but because the time's second opponent easy won't be staying there for very long. Our P3 podium sitter comes across the line now. It's CRL 3-4. Earl drops to P4. Jenkins will cross the line next. I don't know if he's done enough to get there. Let's face it, we'll soon find out, because this is now, the penalties are going to shake everything up now. Topher goes to P5, Jenkins to P6, Wee Rabby finishes P7, Jess finishes P8. And I believe, despite crashing out, Phantom Nug will finish P9.
He has.
So he'll still get points, he will still classify in the points.
I bet he won't be happy though, because
He won't be.
He was on course for a P4 there, and yeah, I don't really know what's happened between him and Jenkins.
Neither do I. White on board at the time. It potentially one for the stewards to watch. CRL Topher has been voted your in-game driver of the day. Obviously, drivers, the section of the Discord will be open in a minute, and it will be